Hassan from Alexandria University. She's a 49-year-old woman, underwent right breast conservative surgery for an invasive duct carcinoma. Hey, good afternoon, my dear colleagues. I really enjoyed my fellow colleagues' presentations. They really set up the bar high, and I hope I can keep up with it. Okay, this 49-year-old woman has already undergone conservative surgery for invasive ductal carcinoma. And now we're going to see her initial post-op mammograms. Okay, this is the CC view as you can see here. This is the right breast and left breast. As you can see here, there's a focal asymmetry as well with the associated with the inwards skin enfolding as well as subcutaneous edema and pericardial edema, better appreciated on the medial lateral oblique view. And what would you do next? Would you give a definitive diagnosis, or would you go to the tropical island of Dr. Jessica's? I would like to go to Dr. Jessica's tropical island and use her ultrasound there, okay? And on ultrasound imaging, it really gave only a very linear hypoechoic scar tissue, no associated mass effect whatsoever, and this was termed as an accepted post-operative study. After 1.5 years, unfortunately, her oncologist, while examining her on her routine checkup, did find a hard mass fixed to the surrounding tissue, and red flags started shooting up in his mind, and he requested for another imaging study. So, when you see such a request, while you're imaging your patients, what would you think of? You should have a certain scheme on your mind. Could you help me putting up the skin together? Okay. First of all, we will look at the bright side of the spectrum. We have to be optimistic, because you have to be very sure that you're dealing with a very vulnerable patient. You're not dealing with a first-timer. She already underwent the road of management before. She already had psychic, in addition to physical trauma, and you have to be very careful when putting up your differential. So we're going to start by the post-operative changes. And the first that would come to your mind would be the fat necrosis. If she's lucky enough, you would find the classical oil cyst with the calcification and loosened center. And again, the same on ultrasound, you would have cysts sometimes giving you clear content, sometimes a little bit turbid content, but it's cystic. The other option would be just fibrosis, florid fibrosis. As in this case here, you have linear architectural distortion along the operative bed, but when you perform your ultrasound, you would still have the prior image of the linear hypoechoic scar without any positive mass effect. And then we have to go to the dark side, looking out for recurrence. And bear in mind that recurrence does not have to be stellate-like or does not have to be irregular mass lesion. It can come in the form of a well-defined lesion, as in this case here of recurrence along the right axillary to operative bed. And on the ultrasound, you might have this mass lesion, hypoechoic, partially giving posterior shadowing. Sometimes when you use Doppler, you would find hypervascularity in it, and you would be sure that this is recurrence. So let's look up again our patient, and this is her medial lateral, her CC view. You see that the edema has a little bit subsided, the inward skin retraction did in fact increase, and you have more or less focal asymmetry that has a dense center, as you can see here on the medial lateral oblique view. So, would you give it direct bias for maybe, or would you go for an ultrasound? Okay, you would go for an ultrasound. And unfortunately, as you can see here, that we have no more a linear hypoechoic scar, we have in fact a mass lesion, or a properly looking mass lesion, irregular with posterior shadowing, and we think of recurrence. So what's your next step? Okay, we go in, take out a biopsy, and look it up. But please, whenever you're gonna go take a biopsy, don't take it only with fine needle, better with core, because you have surrounding inflammatory process, of course, of the post-op changes, and try to take it from the center, not the periphery, again, not to have a false negative. What if your patient refuses to take out the biopsy? She doesn't want any invasive technique. What would you do? You can revert to MR. And this is the MR of this patient. This is her T1 non-fat sac. As you can see here, we have this marked intense lesion rising to the surrounding tissue. But when you look up at the center, you would find that it's actually hyper-intense. And on the T2 fast sac images, you find that this prior hyper-intense actually matches these hyper-intensities. Actually, this was, as Dr. Jessica has shown us in one of her cases, classical fat droplets. And after conscious administration, it did show faint enhancement that gave us a type 1 curve or delayed enhancement. And on the MIP images, actually we don't see any lesions. And this case was proven to be only florid fibrosis with central fat necrosis. It was not recurrence, it was just post-operative changes, but a little bit ugly. So, whenever you're dealing with post-operative changes, you have to think of the two extremes. You have to think of the benign features, the fat necrosis and the fibrosis being the most common, and you have to think of the recurrence. Whenever you're dealing with a post-operative patient, try to do mammogram and ultrasound very meticulously. They are still your first line of imaging. They can solve more than 90% of your problems. If you're not sure if it's recurrence or not, if you're not sure that it's classical post-operative changes, do a biopsy. If your patient refuses to do a biopsy and you want to continue in a non-invasive manner, please do an MRI. And I do believe that whenever we have recurrence, we can add MR also to exclude other synchronous foci, because sometimes you might have a metachronous associated cancer. And thank you.
Yeah, my question here, did very good in the presentation. I have here to highlight the importance of the Doppler study in such cases with the scar. Scar should not contain any vessels. And even if we have vessels in the surrounding area, the vessels, we would see them going till the edge of the scar. No way it's traversing the scar. If you find vessels traversing the scar, this is suspicious. It's no longer just pure on a scar, no. So the role of power Doppler here is very important. And this is one of the real importance of the power Doppler when studying, this is the most important scar. And this is always a problematic issue to us radiologists when dealing, is this really fat necrosis or scar, or there might be a chance of having a recurrence. Look carefully at the power Doppler, do it properly. And you will find that whenever you see a vessel within the scar, this is no more an innocent scar.
It's actually a recurrence.
Okay.
And that's why maybe I showed the case with Doppler.
Yes, I can see, and if you're
Yeah,
going back, you will find that the vessel's actually stopping at the edge, not within the scar.
Maybe I should have put another image where the Doppler was.
This is, I mean, just for a teaching issue. Okay, thank you.